passionate about music.
Absolutely. Civil partnerships were introduced to not give us equality, but to deny us equality, to head off the campaign for same-sex civil marriage. It was meant as a sop, to shut us up, to make us go away. And, you know, I'm not a great fan of marriage. I'm very critical. I share the feminist critique. I think marriage has got a lot of patriarchal, sexist history. I wouldn't want to get married. But as a Democrat and as a libertarian, I defend absolutely the right of other lesbian and gay people to get married if they wish. And the fact that the law bars us, it's homophobia. It's pure and simple homophobic discrimination. And that's why the Equal Love campaign has launched a case in the European Court of Human Rights where 4 gay couples and 4 straight couples have filed applications to end sexual orientation discrimination in civil marriage and civil partnership law. And we are quietly confident that when a judgment is given, it probably take another 3 or 4 years, when a judgment is given that we will win, that the European Court will rule that this discrimination is illegal and must change.
And also, in a year of sport with London 2012, do you think that we will eradicate homophobia from sport, say from I mean, football's almost the last bastion where homophobia is quite rife within the stands, and I think obviously there aren't any UK professional footballers out. Do you think there will be a chance for us to eradicate it from sport, from football as well?
Well, you know, homophobia, it's like racism, you know. Racism is still with us, but much less so than 20, 40 or 50 years ago. Slavery was once taken for granted. Colonialism was accepted as a fact of life. But those things have changed. They're history. And I believe we ought to make homophobia and transphobia history as well. And I believe we can and will in sport and in every other area of life. It will take a long time, perhaps another 20, 30 years, but we will get there. If we persevere, if we carry on the fight and don't become complacent and apathetic, we will eventually win. You know, looking at sport, looking at football, you know, by the law of averages, there've got to be at least 50 or 60 players in the Premier League who are gay or bisexual. At least. And, you know, I was very close friends with Justin Fashanu in the early 1980s. I remember him telling me at the time that he knew of 12 other players who were gay or bisexual. I don't know if the figure's the same or, you know, obviously he didn't know everyone, you know, I'm sure the figure is actually much higher. I don't understand why there's been no football Premier League equivalent to Gareth Thomas. He came out in rugby, and, you know, what did it do to him? It won him plaudits, praise. You know, people admired his guts and his courage. You know, it's made his name and career.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He's much better known now and much more admired than he was before he came out. So I'm just hoping that eventually, if not one player, maybe several players can jointly come out. If they came out together, it would take the heat off the individuals. That's why I've always argued for a joint coming out by several players, because that would, you know, give them safety in numbers, and, you know, no one player would become a target of the tabloids. I think it would do their careers the world of good. And I don't believe that homophobia is as bad in football as people suspect. There's been some research recently by the University of Staffordshire which found that most fans don't care if players are gay or straight.
As long as they play good football, they don't care.
As long as they score on the pitch.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, I'm certain, I'm absolutely certain that there is a homophobic hardcore. We know that. There is a homophobic hardcore.
But just to say, as a racist hardcore of people, the interesting thing about racism, which I find, which hopefully will happen with homophobia, is that it is not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
It is not socially acceptable to be racist. Therefore, hopefully, and with laws changing and you know, with all how far we've come in the last 10 years, that will change as well hopefully with homophobia. It is not socially acceptable to say, you know, and it's with schools and pupils to turn around and say something is gay in a negative way. And I think once you start with that, that will help.
Passionate about music.